Have you ever stared at the "you died" screen and wondered if you're just too bad for these games? In that case, I can promise you that you are far from alone. FromSoftware games are designed to feel impossible at first, but once you understand a few key things, they go from frustrating to absolutely addicting. In this video, I'll share some of the things I wish I knew when I started, jumping straight to tip number 1. Take your time exploring. These games really excel at making you feel rewarded for wandering off the beaten path. Sure, you'll not always find the most valuable loot, but more times than not, you'll end up with something really useful. It could, for example, be a ring that boosts your defenses or attack power. It could be upgrade materials for your flasks or your weapons. Or it may be none of that, and instead you'll be faced with a secret boss. But that's only one of the many different reasons why I think it's so important to really take your time with the exploration parts in these games. For example, it will also help with the quite steep learning curve by making sure you get enough time and practice between difficult bosses and areas. My last comment on this would be to consider doing your first playthroughs blind. While this will increase the difficulty since you won't know what to expect, it will also increase the satisfaction you get. At least that's been the case for me. Now, let's talk about something most new players secretly want to know. How do you actually make these games easier? Because yes, there are ways, but it's not as simple as turning on easy mode. The first and best way is to use summons. Before almost every major boss, you'll find summoning signs, either from other players or friendly NPCs. But here's the catch. You'll need to use certain items or meet specific conditions for these signs to appear. If you don't, you might walk right past help without realizing it. When you summon, you'll open up your world for cooperative help, but also uninvited PvP. So yeah, while one friend might help you, another player might invade just to ruin your day. Another way to make life easier, use strong weapons. Don't feel like you're cheating by using something powerful. You're still earning every win. Upgrade often and pick a weapon that hits hard and feels natural to you. And then there's magic. And I'll be honest, some people swear by it. Personally, I don't. It can make certain fights way easier, but in my experience, it can also make some fights much harder. And finally, if you're really struggling, it can be a great help to just farm. Get a few extra levels, gather upgrade materials, maybe stock up on healing items. The truth is, FromSoft Games wants you to find your own balance. You can summon, you can farm, you can go solo, none of it's wrong. What matters is that you keep going. Alright, let's talk about something a lot of new players falls into, the shield trap. At first, it feels amazing. You block a few attacks, your stamina holds up, and you think, okay, I've got this figured out. And then the game smacks you with reality, because while shields can work, they are not a get out of jail free card. The higher you climb, the more bosses shoot through your guard, and that green bar starts crying for help. That's why it's so important to get comfortable with rolling. Some FromSoft games like Bloodborne or Sekiro don't even have shields. In these games you'll have to either dodge, parry or deflect to get out of harm's way, but more about that later. Another thing to keep in mind about rolling is that your equip load actually changes how good your roll is. If you're too heavy, you'll do what's called a fat roll, which means you'll have fewer invincibility frames, slower recovery, and basically an open invitation to get punished. Try to stay under the threshold for a medium or light roll. You'll feel the difference immediately. It's like dodging with rocket boots instead of ankle weights. But rolling isn't just about timing, it's about discipline as well. The trick is to only dodge when you have to. This way you will save stamina for a counterattack, as well as becoming better at not getting roll caught. And if you don't know what being roll caught means, it is when the boss is designed to flex an attack, but not hit straight away in order to trick you into rolling and then catching you in your recovery frames. Like we can see Margit do here. So, having talked about dodge rolling and blocking, that takes us to the next tip, which is to try parrying. I have several hundreds of hours of playtime in these games, but it was only recently that I actually started looking up how parrying works and how to get good at it. And the reason for that is because when I first tried it in Dark Souls 1, which was the first FromSoftware game I played, I tried it, got completely destroyed, and then just thought that this was reserved for only the sweatiest of players. But this is not true at all, and what I know now is that some really powerful enemies can be completely trivialized if you learn how to parry them correctly. However, there are some caveats to this tip, which I want to highlight as well. First off, not all parrying tools are equal. Most importantly, there's a difference in how many active parry frames you get with different items. In Elden Ring, for example, you have small shields, which will give you 5 active parry frames compared to the 3 active parry frames you get with a medium shield. This really makes a difference, so I suggest looking up the best parrying tools before you start learning this. Secondly, practicing parrying will get you killed a lot in the beginning, but once you get it down, it will make the combat much easier. FromSoftware also love to reuse their enemies and movesets, so if you spend some time learning an enemy in one game, chances are you will be able to use what you have learned in another, with little to no difference in its timing. Let's continue to the last tip, sleep on it. Sometimes the best way to beat a boss is to stop fighting them. I know this might sound strange, but one of the most underrated strategies in these games is knowing when to take a break. You'll know the moment it's time. When every death feels unfair, when you stop making progress on that health bar, or when you catch yourself getting annoyed just walking back to the arena. That is your brain telling you it's done learning for the night. Because these games are pattern recognition, and once your focus drops, you're basically trying to solve a puzzle while half asleep. But here's the magic. Come back after a night's rest, and 9 times out of 10, you'll beat that same boss on one of your first attempts. You didn't level up, you didn't change your build, you just gave your mind time to download the moveset, and suddenly everything clicks. So if you're stuck, frustrated or tilted, step away. These games aren't just tests of skill, they're tests of patience. So, those were the 5 things I wish I knew before I ever picked up a FromSoft game. Take your time exploring, don't be afraid to look for help, get comfy with the role, try parrying, and when everything else fails, just sleep on it. These games will destroy you, but in the best possible way. If you want more guides, tips, or deep dives into specific mechanics, just let me know down in the comments. FromSoft games are punishing, but learning them is half the joy. Thanks for watching, and now go die gloriously out there.